Carla is a multi-talented artist. She works in glass and ceramics, designs fabric, and she quilts. Welcome, Carla.
Hi.
It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I feel like I'm on a whimsical set here. This is a glimpse into your imagination.
Yeah, we like bright, fun things.
You do. So let's see what you're going to show us today.
Okay. Well, the one technique that I want to show you today is kind of my long arm version of embroidery.
Okay.
So,
how long have you been a long arm quilter?
it's been a little over 4 years now.
Okay.
So
you're fairly new long arming,
I'm fairly
actually.
new.
Great.
This is just a fun little whimsical butterfly that I've drawn. It's a pattern that you can download from your website. And it has this little butterfly which I like to outline first with black and then go back in and color it in with bright, of course, really high
bright.
contrasting color.
Like neon colors.
I like bright. It's fun, you know, it makes people happy. I'd like to just kind of show you how I do that. I've done a couple versions here. This one here where I haven't done the white in the wings, and then this one over here I've done the white, and then I've gone back and highlighted with some neon yellow, which kind of just gives you a little more dimension.
So you can put color right on top of color.
Yeah, I love to quilt over quilting. Same with, just like if you look in the background here, I've quilted the background and then went back and did all the detail.
And then did that on top of it.
Yeah.
And you really do a lot of embellishing too.
Yes, I like embellishments. So I
Yes.
love sparkle and fun. So there's never too much, you know. And then also on this one here, it's the same butterfly, only it's larger. And I'm just giving you a little different version where here I did like a faux trapunto, and then I've done a heavy black outline, which is that calligraphic hand-drawn look, where you have thick and thin, which is kind of like a pen and ink, you know, if you've ever done or seen that type of look.
Yes. Oh.
So it's just fun. It gives it lots of dimension and interest, and that's the same with the flowers here. And you can see I've gone in with the black and done
Put
my
some
little
of your shadow in there.
cross hatching.
Oh, how neat.
And also in the centers I have some neon yellow and have gone back and done black over. So I think, you know, you can use thread on top of thread, and that gives you dimension. My background is painting, so I like to just use the thread and the fabric like you would paint.
This is really thick too. Do you break needles when you go through all this thick fabric?
Well, you can. I think I've only broken a needle once, but the main thing is to change your needle really often.
Okay.
So on a piece that has lots of quilting, you may use a pack of needles or more.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so change it a lot on the same quilt.
Right, right. Because just think about it, you're penetrating that fabric and that thick batting and then all that thread. And so what I do is every so often I'll check my needle with my fingernail to see if I can feel a burr, and then I remove it.
Then you make it. Yeah, change it out. That's
And that
cool.
way you don't have any problem. And you don't want to poke batting through with a dull needle
No,
either.
they'll come through on the other
Right,
side as
so-
well. Well, how fun. Let's see you do
Okay.
some quilting.
Alrighty.
And here we have our outline.
Right. Do you want me to tell you a little bit about how you can start?
Yes.
Now, of course, you can use commercially printed fabrics, which are fine, but if you're feeling really adventurous and you want to do some hand painting, this is a perfect thing.
This is it.
It requires no skill whatsoever. You'll just take your plain piece of fabric, and you're going to, of course, trace on your pattern. And
Okay.
I use a mechanical pencil because it's fine and it has a nice little point.
Do you have to remove those marks if you
No,
use a pencil?
I don't worry about it because, as you can see, we're going to be sewing
have
over
so much
and
on
over.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're doing lots of thread
I like
work.
that. That's great.
So I don't worry about that. But if you do, and you know you don't, some people are very particular, go ahead and use a washout marker or some other means of transferring it. And of course you could draw it freehand. So you go ahead, trace your pattern on, and you would just wet your fabric lightly with water. And then just take fabric paints or acrylic paints that you just thin down with water and just splotch them all over. Don't worry about, you know, don't even worry
Trying
about
to put something here, something
No,
there.
because-
I like that.
because, you know, in nature, light reflects color. And so you would get some green on the pink and pink on the green. And that just makes it fun, whimsical, and easy. We're about easy.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so then after you've got your fabric all painted and dried, go ahead and on this one here I'm going to show you, I've already done the black outline because you can see the two different ways. This is where I've just done like one row of stitching.
Okay.
And I've gone in and done my little shadowing. You know, you could do as thick as you want, as many, you know,
Times over that as you want.
Sure,
Okay.
as you want to.
Okay.
You know how you look in the sky when you were kids? I still do. But and you look at the clouds and you see all these crazy little animals or whatever.
Yes.
Well, just kind of imagine that this painting is like the clouds, okay? And I can kind of see a coneflower growing here. I don't know about you, but a flower is basically an oval or a circle.
Okay.
And you could, you know, we could make a little top coming out of this, but we want a center, you know,
Alright.
so pick a center. And in a flower, you don't want perfectly centered. We want it kind of off-centered. And then we're going to just bring everything off of that center
Out
point.
of the center. Okay.
Anyone can do that, okay? That's simple. Have our little center coming up, or you could have a center here, whatever you like.
Okay.
That would create your flower, and you could go back and then do your black stitching. So now on this one, I'd like to show you, if that's fine, how to
do
thread
that?
paint in
Oh,
there.
we want to see that.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll just bring the machine over. It looks like you have a hot pink or neon pink thread there.
And what I love high contrast, because it just makes it look more interesting.
Well, interesting is what your quilts are, so we like that.
Well, we really like whimsical, you know, fun kind of stuff. And normally what I do is I like to, and you could use regulated mode, but I like to use
just your manual, your motor speed.
And I don't use a really high speed, so like maybe, since I haven't used this machine before, I'll start with like 12 or 13. And I want to move a little faster so that my stitches are bigger.
Oh, okay.
That helps to fill it in.
Oh, all right.
So
gets more thread in
yeah,
there.
it gets more thread color.
Okay.
So I'm going to speed it up a little bit. And I'm just going to basically go back and forth. Now, what you want to do to fill is lots of times I'll go one direction and then I'll go back, because this helps to just fill in the space and make it the coverage better.
Because you got to get a lot of color in there, don't
Right,
you?
right.
So you don't have to go all the same direction.
No, don't go the same direction, because
Don't go. Okay.
it just helps to fill in the space, where if you went all the one direction, it kind of gets a liney look to it.
And then you have to keep them really neat, and then you worry about all of that. So this is great.
This is not about being neat. And don't worry if you run over the black outline. That's okay.
That's okay?
Because in a pen and ink drawing or painting, you wouldn't be that particular, at least I wouldn't, at whether the line was perfectly around it. And if after you get done doing the fill-in with your thread, you feel like, well, I just covered up my black outline too much, well, go back and sew over the black outline.
Go back over it, okay.
But you can see that as you're painting, or
As
sewing, you're painting with your thread. As you're sewing, it's getting thicker and thicker. And
Yes,
this
it is. I can see that rich color
Right.
is coming through.
And that's also why your needle will dull, because you're, you know, going through all these layers. And I like to use, I'll use multiple layers of batting. On this one here,
Oh, really? Under the whole quilt?
yeah, on this
Okay.
one here I have just one layer of a thin polyester.
What kind of batting do you like to use for these?
Well, I usually use, my theory is the polyester doesn't dull the needle as badly, but that could be incorrect. That's my opinion. So lots of times what I'll do is I'll use a really high loft polyester and then put a thinner loft one over the top, or I'll put 3 or 4 layers. I'll get a real thick, and that way if I don't want to, you know, if I want the trapunto look, it gives it a really high puffy look.
Okay. So your quilts are stiffer if you have a lot of
Yes.
that batting in. So do
It's-
they wash up, or how do you?
I don't wash my quilts. They're artwork.
Oh, okay.
They're pictures to hang on the wall, so I don't ever.
Don't have to worry about
yeah,
that.
they're washable,
Okay.
but I don't wash them. It's just about hanging it and having
And that
it
would make
beautiful.
them nice and flat too, so they
Yes,
were hanging there.
it makes them stiff so they don't. They're not warbly. You know, when you hang them up, they're not going every direction.
This looks really fun. Just
It's you know, it's
any
just,
direction, not having to worry about that
Right.
is really freeing.
and
thought.
it's nice to have some of the color from the background shining through.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you is, if if you are going to use multiple layers of batting, and even if you're not, if you're going to do lots of thread painting on your quilt, you need to baste it.
Oh, okay. You mean just to secure it all
Right.
across? How often or how?
I do it about every like 6-inch squares. I like to have basted.
Okay. To keep one area from distorting the other area.
Right,
I
because
see.
you're going to get some
That's
distortion.
a great tip. Yeah.
And the other thing I like to do when I baste it is I like to use a matching thread that matches the background as close, or the painting as much as possible. And then if I like to use a black often on the back of my quilt, so I'll use a black on the back.
Okay.
That way, when I'm sewing over it so many times, if I can't get it all out, it's really not going to matter. No.
I see. Oh, that looks so nice, Carla. It really does.
And so then you could go back after you've done this, you could go back and add highlights
with another color.
Yeah, of a neon orange, neon yellow.
Let's move that out of the way so we can see this.
Whatever color you like. You want contrast because remember it's highlights and shadows that you're trying to create with your thread.
So I could study up on that
there
a
you
little bit more. Well, these have been great tips. Let's talk about a couple of the quilts that you brought.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Which is your favorite?
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess my Halloween one is my latest one.
Oh, the blue cat. See, I don't know how you think of these things. That's gorgeous.
I love Halloween and the decorations of it, and so I wanted to come up with something cute, and I like dimension because my background is really three-dimensional art. And so I did really high loft trapunto, and my spider legs are totally three-dimensional. He has little porcelain shoes. And then I've used a really thick technique with the words, which make them, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but they're about a 1/2 inch off the quilt.
Wow, and that was just the trapunto effect with
Well,
the
what
batting?
I do is I put layers of fabric and batting and fabric and batting, making sandwiches.
Okay.
And I'll make different sandwiches, and then I will sew those together so that I can get it really thick, because you couldn't sew through that thick of a
And that is all put on with your Longarm machine?
yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing. I know your signature is the frogs.
Right.
Yes.
Right, because it's
You're the quilted frog lady.
So my sister and I do the patterns together and the designing, so people remember us as the frog lady. And we do a lot of outline applique technique, which is where you can see the black outline around things. And that's done with fabric on a lot of these you see here, where with the thread painting, I've done it with thread and done the same type of a look. And it just is a neat outline kind of a look.
Wow, so you just work with a lot of mediums. And this has been fascinating. I bet the viewers are excited to try some of these techniques, and I certainly am. So I just want to thank you so much for sharing this with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You bet.